powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to another edition of Unconventional Playbook, Patrick's Picks edition, plus a little bit of Minnesota Vikings preview of the New York Jets. Happy Saturday to all of UP Nation out there. Mr. Patrick Buchanan, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. We up here in the morning doing it. Everybody got to wake up Sunday morning early, get your coffee.
Have you had your cup of coffee yet?
I get my orange juice. It gets me going in the morning, so
I hear that.
Get my vitamins in me right quick.
Yeah, that's
coffee
probably
is
a more healthier choice than a cup of coffee.
well. Don't get me wrong, Coach. I hit my coffee around 9:30, 10 though. So I mean, I'm not like I go orange juice to wake me up, and then the coffee got to come in. So
There you go. Well, the Minnesota Vikings are over across the pond getting ready for the New York Jets UP Nation. Don't forget that start time is 8:30 tomorrow morning. So it's not your regular noon start time, 8:30 tomorrow morning. Pat, you got Aaron Rodgers, for all intents and purposes, going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. You got the New York Jets with a pretty decent defense. They haven't really been consistent all year long, but they got some pieces over there. And then you got the Minnesota Vikings coming in rolling. What do you see from this game tomorrow morning?
well, number one, you're just somewhere else. So obviously we played in London before, but you're not at home. But it might feel like a home game for the Vikings. There's a lot of fans over there in London for them. I just, we got a bye week next week, and you're looking forward to that bye. And TJ, you're 4-0. Like, this is a game that could be a trap game going into the bye week,
Yeah.
right? If there's not lock in, it's not focused, if you disrespect them and you look at they only scored 9 points last week, you look at how, they're really not giving up much production. So first thing I'll just start with is, the defense got to go in there and truly dominate. That offensive line of theirs is really screwed up. You got opportunity to really blitz them and really put a lot of pressure on them. And Aaron's not old Aaron, so he's not mobile, right? He's stuck in that pocket, and you can get him nonstop. He's stuck in that pocket. He is not the old Aaron Rodgers that used to be at the Green Bay Packers that can move around outside the pocket and make amazing throws. I'm not saying he can't make amazing throws. He's not mobile like that. So I think you need to utilize and go after him, because this is the least mobile quarterback that we have played and that we might play all season, especially only being the 5th game in off of the Achilles tear. So I just think that we should attack at him defensively. Wide receivers really aren't doing anything for him. Garrett Wilson's getting targets, but he's dropping balls, right? Really, the bright spot for him has been the rookie, Braylon Allen, more than Breece Hall. So it's shutting down the run. He's going to throw the ball short a lot. He's really not going to go deep. Make sure you still take Mike Williams, Lazard away. But yeah, I'm putting as much pressure on that offensive line as I can.
You know, what I don't like about this, Pat, is kind of strange, man, because I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist sometimes. The one thing throughout the week that I haven't really liked is Aaron Rodgers talking about how, banged up he is and his knees and all that type of stuff. And usually when you are a professional team, you really don't give your opponents that type of information, especially a team like the Minnesota Vikings that, I don't want to call them blitz happy, but they're one of the higher percentage blitz rate defenses in the NFL. To come out and say how injured, how sore he is, stuff like that. Sometimes I think that can be a little gamesmanship when you hear another quarterback talk about himself like that.
Oh yeah, I know it's gamesmanship. That's why I'm not even bringing that up, right? I didn't even I'm not even listening to that. I'm listening at what's real, and the reality is he is right. That's the reality. He's not as mobile in his offensive line, right? I'm not talking about him. Man, I knew exactly what that man was doing when he said it right away. So I'm a little soreness I got. Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah,
You're a little
yeah.
sore.
Mike?
You're gonna be sore on Sunday, right? That's when you're gonna be sore. So I'm not gonna tank with that. when I flip it over to just the opposite side of the ball, coach, and I'm looking at that and thinking about that, I'm like, you know, I know Sam's been challenged in a lot of different ways, and these cornerbacks are going to challenge in a different way, but it feels like it feels like defenses have a game plan for us, but it just feels like KOC has counters to everything they're going to do, right? And he has Sam on the level of understanding the counters and the whole offense understanding the counters if they want to take certain things away, what is there, and to take what is there. And I feel like we are taking advantage of that and taking what's there in the sense of you guys going to keep showing two bodies over JJ where we're going to take this. We'll take the dump offs. We'll take, the Addisons, the Nailers, right? The Olivers, the Munns, the Aaron Joneses, the Chandlers. Like, we'll take those and we're fine with that and continue to do that because every time you release up on JJ, then we find them. So what I just feel like, yeah, they got fantastic defensive backs. The defense isn't playing phenomenal like I thought it would. Judah's not out there, but I just feel like Sam is in KLC. He's got Sam into a place of understanding what the defense is going to try to do, but how we counter react to it all. And that's why he's looking like he's looking out there in the first 4 weeks.
Well, I use the term all the time. The one thing I like about the Minnesota Vikings is that everything that they're doing right now travels. Like their defense travels. They're like you said, their offense travels. They're not doing things with smoke and mirrors. They're doing a very good job, like you said, in terms of taking what the defense is giving them. I think for this game, it really helps to have Addison back in the fold because now you're right. If they double team Jefferson, which he's going to see pretty much every week for the rest of the season, probably from different teams, you got Addison on that right side. You got Naylor, who is now your third wide receiver in there. So you just bring a lot of weapons to the table. And I think, KOC has his offense in tuned with him. And I think you're going to see that over in London. The Vikings are undefeated overseas right now. They're 3-0. They're favored by 2.5, the last line that I saw. Right now the favorite is 34-10 in the history of going overseas and playing in these games. So I like where the Minnesota Vikings are. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be one of these games where it's going to be a blowout. I think Aaron Rodgers, especially coming off a game where they didn't score a lot of points, I think they're going to be refocused. So I think they're going to present some challenges for the Minnesota Vikings, but I do see the Minnesota Vikings pulling this thing out tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I mean they're corners, right? Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, right? But they don't move. They don't. They just stay their sides, right? And they're cocky. They're gonna try to a lot of man coverage. I remember listening and paying attention earlier this week, and I had to go back and look at it. JJ played a lot of slot last time we played the Jets a couple of years ago, right? He played a lot in the slot. He killed DJ, but he played a lot within the slot during that time. And that's where, like, now you got to have your nickel, right, kind of cover him. You're not going to be able to have your guys because your corners don't ever move. They stay
Right.
their side, right side, left side, DJ and Sauce. So I know KOC just, I mean, he's been in his bag, right? I like out of all season long, like 4 games, right? That's 16 quarters. 14 quarters, he's been phenomenal when it
Right.
comes to play calling, right? I just, question some of the stuff in the Green Bay game second half, but that's about it. He's got stuff. Yeah, I think the Vikings, when they get done with a game, they on film tape right away, right? I just think the coaches just are in that hunger place where they're on film tape right away and they're seeing the problems, the gaps and the holes right now within that defense and how can we slice it up. And number one thing, I heard something else profound. It was like Green Bay Packers fans, right? They're like, oh yeah, y'all loving Aaron Jones, but he's going to get injured or whatever. Like, the funny thing is that Aaron Jones isn't getting this high volume of carries, right?
Right.
And everyone thinks he is. People like you see his production, but his snap percentage is a lot lower than it was, right? Over at Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because Chandler's in there. So we're not using him as this workhorse yet, right? We're being very smart about it. But if we continue to utilize that two-headed monster and get 100 plus yards on the ground, I think that'll help everything else out.
I know we're past the Packers, but one thing I want to point out, because I think what you said is definitely relevant, because I work with a lot of Packer fans, and they were talking about how Jacobs is such an upgrade from Jones. Jacobs didn't look like an upgrade from Jones last week. If you look at his last couple of weeks, he's not putting up the production right now that Aaron Jones is. So I don't know if that's an upgrade or not. One interesting thing going into the game this week versus the Jets. This is one of the few times where you get a matchup like Sauce Gardner and Justin Jefferson. According to PFF, those two rate first and second at their position. So that's going to be a really, really good matchup just to watch. If those two get matched up one-on-one without safeties being rolled over and stuff like that, if you're at the game and being able to view that kind of stuff one-on-one, that's just going to be a great matchup. Pat, the one thing I wanted to ask you, I've been thinking about this all week because I heard it on various shows, and I wanted to pick your brain about this. I don't know how long you've been following the Vikings and being a fan. I know it's a long time, but I don't know your exact numbers of years. Can you think about another year where the Minnesota Vikings have had the impact that they've had on free agency? I mean, people are saying this is the best free agent class that's ever been brought in to Minnesota. And when you look at it, when you look at the depth of it, and you look at the pieces they brought in free agency, man, how can you argue that this is not the best free agent class that the Minnesota Vikings have ever brought in?
Right? Like you're talking about free agent class, not like an individual or whatever.
No, I'm
Like,
talking about free agent class.
yeah, like I don't remember a class, right? Not a class. Not when you're talking about, you know, not even let's not even count the draft picks, right? Okay. Let's just say the free agents that came in here.
Yep.
And it's like 10 guys you can name, that
Oh,
are
man.
impactful,
Oh, man.
and at that rate of a number, no, I mean, no, no, no.
And Pat, here's the thing. A linebacker like Grugier Hill, that's come in for Ivan Pace since he's been hurt.
Yeah.
That's depth. You talk about a guy that didn't play really the first two games, and his last two games he's got interceptions. So he's coming in and making an impact, man. Like, that's really impressive to me.
Oh, that is high. But let's go back to it, Coach. When people go down, there's one thing we got and one thing we showed, and that's called depth, right? The
Yeah,
depth chart is for real.
yeah.
It's super real. Man, I'm just sitting over here, like sitting back just to think about how impactful all of these free agents really are.
It's
But
unbelievable, Pat. You can even throw Sam Darnold in there, man.
oh, you got what you mean? You got to throw Sam Darnold in there. What you talking about? You got to throw him and Aaron Jones up in there. You got to throw Munch in there, right? Uh, obviously everything, Gruder Hill, my man Cashman, Van Ginkel, and Shaq and Gilmore. Like you can keep going on and on and on. So, um, yeah, I'm just it's the depth of the team, and it's something that they built up the team they wanted, and they went out and got the guys they wanted. And this is not me cracking on it, but the old regime that was here
Yep,
was not free agent. They was through the draft do it. You
yep.
know what I mean? We were not a free agent, go out and do this type of thing on free agent. I think for us, we had some miss in Kwesi's first year, but I think for us was especially on the defensive end, we couldn't get all the production through the draft. We had to use the money to do it, and man, they do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Man,
Everything
listen,
is
man,
just
we told you we was talking about him this summer that he was cooking, wasn't we?
yeah, man. He's done a fantastic job, and he's set this team up, barring any major setbacks. He set this team up for success for a few years, man. We got our franchise quarterback in the fold. We got Sam Darnold. People call him a bridge quarterback. He's not looking like a bridge quarterback right now. He's looking like somebody that could, if he stays with the Vikings, be a pretty decent franchise quarterback. If he goes somewhere else, he's going to get a big time payday. The thing that he's doing is he's putting himself in the conversation to stay. And I don't think anybody would have said that to start the year. I mean, Sam Darnold's playing some really, really good football. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Vikings do. Again, hit that like and subscribe button, UP Nation. Game start tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. So make sure you make that adjustment. It's not at noon. It's at 8:30 a.m. Patrick's picks coming up right now. I know, Pat, you've been looking at the lines all week. I've been looking at the lines all week. Lionel's lock, first weekend that Lionel's locks did not come through. So for all of you that took my advice on the Lionel lock, please forgive me with that one. I had an off weekend, but I'm looking to come back this weekend. But let's get into Patrick picks. So, Pat, what type of games do you have for us this weekend?
All right. Well, obviously it's 5. I go through obviously
Yep.
again. So I'm gonna hit 1 college and 5
Okay.
NFL games. Right. College is real tough this week. I love alternate spread, so that's me. But so.
Hey, Pat, can you explain what alternate spreads are for people that are, not people out there that are novices when it comes to like gambling and sports betting?
Alternate spread is where you can change the underdog or the favorite, to maybe the favorite to win by less or more points, or to become the underdog in your spread. Now, as you change the spread, the line changes. The more that you turn a favorite into a higher point spread of winning by, the more plus you get within your bet. The higher plus, the more money you get
Gotcha.
in return, right?
Yep.
So you get to just change the point spread. So
Okay.
for me, it's something that I already did, and I'll just put it out there, like my 1 college bet, like Michigan. Like you missed on Michigan this week. I'm taking Michigan. But what I did was I alternate spread that one, and I alternate spread it to -2.5. So now
Okay.
they have to win by a field goal. So that's my college pick. That's the line that I moved on it. I'm excited about it. I was like, yes, this is their first roadie game, but that does not bother me at all, even going to there, just because I believe the defense is going to be too much in the run game. I still believe Michigan is relevant, and I don't think Washington's been challenged yet and ready to knock them off.
Okay, so you switched to point spread. You got now Michigan as the favorite and Michigan to win that ball game.
Yes.
All right. So that's your college pick. I'll hold off on my pick until you get done with all of your Patrick picks. Let's go into the NFL.
Okay, we're going into the NFL. Without having, like, I think Flacco is a fantastic quarterback, right? And I think he do some great things for him. But not having Jonathan Taylor back there, going on the road, I think Jacksonville figured out some things, got better last week, where they go at home. They stay at home. It's a division game. I take the Jacksonville Jaguars -3 points at home to be able to get this win this week.
Jacksonville's going to figure it out. They're 0-4 this year. I believe they've lost. Well, going back to last year, they've lost 8 in a row, 9 in a row.
Yeah, it's broken right now.
Yeah. So you're looking at them being able to figure that out.
Just the way that they were able to compete with the Houstons in Houston. It's a division game, and now they're going back home. It's another division game. It's familiarity. Like they know they played each other. These coaches coached against each other, and then you take Jonathan, out the mix. So
Yeah.
they're running back for the Colts. So Jonathan Taylor, I think that's where the 3-point victory comes in.
Okay. Okay. Second game, what do you got?
Second game, well, Coach, maybe you may not like this pick, but I'm telling you, they're doing something over there. Uh, Capers is coaching his tail off. He has a fantastic, probably the rookie of the year. The Washington Manders, fantastic victory last week. Come back home. Cleveland Browns are trying to
Mess.
figure things out
They're
right
a
now.
mess, Patrick. They're a
Man,
mess.
they trying to figure out some things right now, and they walking in on the team that's kind of high and have some veterans that they picked up in free agency, right? I think they did a good job in free agency, picking up some vets just to help, trying to reboot what's over there. They got Quinn Snyder out of there. Maybe that's why things are looking good. They
Yeah.
changed ownership,
Yeah.
You never know what's happening over there. But I think the Browns are a mess right now. They just got some issues going on. So the Commanders are favored by a point. So obviously just taking the win on this game, it works for you. So I'm taking the Washington Commanders over the Cleveland Browns.
All right. All right. Sounds good. What's your game number 3, man?
You ain't say you like that pick.
No, well, listen, I was going to save it for last because obviously that was my Lionel's lock. I'm not going to tell you which side of the fence I'm going to be on, but that's the game I picked for Lionel's lock. But I'll let you go on, but I'll come back to that game at the
All
end.
right. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. See, we never know, so I don't ever know what his locks are. So I never know what his locks are. But I think 2 weeks now, I've done jumped into your locks. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
on the same wavelength with things. Uh, Next one I do, this might shock some people, but I've done it several times, right? And familiarity. The 49ers aren't in a great place. They're just not. I'm picking the 49ers to win, but I'm telling you to take the plus 7.5 with the Arizona Cardinals. I know what happened last week. That is not about to happen again, right? Yes, the Cardinals have a horrible defense, but this is an in-division game. In-division games aren't blowouts like that. They're tighter
Right.
games, right? And just because you know each other, I mean, the Rams aren't in a great place, but look what they did with the 49ers, right? So I'm telling you, the plus 7.5 with Arizona is a fantastic pick against the 49ers because the 49ers are still trying to get it together, but it's an in-division game.
Yeah, now I like that pick because the 49ers are a little banged up. The Cardinals, really good offense. Kyler Murray's playing some good football. They're getting it together on offense again. I think last week was an outlier, and I think just the overall health of the San Francisco's 49ers team, plus it being a divisional game, will shrink that spread. So I would have to agree with you with that pick.
My last one, after Monday Night Football, they're not happy. They're not happy in Seattle. They are not happy in Seattle at all, right? So Seattle gets to go back home, right?
Yep.
Get to go from Motor City, go
Gino.
back home.
Gino.
Yeah, Gino and Kenneth Walker and DK and all them guys get to go back home, face a Malik Neighbors less Giants team.
Yep.
Like I mean, why would you not? They only have them favored by 1 point. I would alter that spread, make a little bit more money, move it to 2.5, maybe even 4. I would alter that spread and move that up because they're only favored by 1
I'm
point.
looking at Pat. I'm looking at FanDuel right now. They've got the Seahawks favorite minus 6.5.
Okay, they moved this whatever I looked at, whatever. So
Yeah.
they got that at 6.5. You take that 6.5. As a matter of fact, if you want to take it, see, I'm one of them people. I'm gonna just share with people. Always think about how scoring goes in the NFL, right? So if I would alter that into like if you like knowing how not good the Giants are, right?
Yeah.
Like I would go 9.5. Why? Because I'm like, okay, the 10, I would not go over 10. I wouldn't do the 10.5. I do the 9.5. That means that's a 10-point cover right there, right?
Right.
Or I do the 6.5, right? Because then that's a touchdown cover right there, right? That's why I mess with 2.5s, right? When I'm flipping it on pluses, I'm doing that the opposite way, right? Saying, okay, they not about to cover by, or they're going to cover by 2 touchdowns, so I'll move it to 14.5 plus.
Yeah.
So I can lose by 2 touchdowns, or 10.5, so I can lose by 10, or 7.5 and lose by a touchdown. So that's how I alter spreads and play with them. So
So I know there are going to be some layman people out there that really don't dabble that much into sports betting, but if you look at the Seahawks as being a big favorite in that game, wouldn't you want to decrease the point spread right now? There's 6.5. Wouldn't you want to try to bring that down a little bit lower to maybe like 2.5 to kind of ensure a win if you think they're a heavy favorite?
well, if you're gonna do that, then you're just gonna lose out on money, right?
Okay.
I mean, you're gonna that's gonna change to a higher minus. The higher the minus is,
Yep.
the less money you're getting, right?
Okay.
So
Yep.
if you want to do things like I do, like I like altering parlay spreads. Like I'll do parlays that are alternate spreads, right? Where
Yep.
I feel certain things. So otherwise, if you're going a straight bet with it, you don't alter that to get less money, right? Like me, I would if I put a couple of notes on that game, I'd want to even make more money. So, or just
Mm.
straight bet it, right? It's at a good spread right now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted you to explain that out there for the amateurs out there that are maybe dabbling in this for the first time or just don't just don't do it a lot. Was that your pick number 5?
That is pick number 5, Coach.
Okay. Okay. So if you wouldn't mind rehash all your picks for the UPers out there that are, scrambling to get their notepads and heading to the casinos early this morning.
Oh yeah. So the first thing that I gave is Michigan, alternate spread to -2.5. That's a field goal, right?
Yep.
Uh, Jaguars -3 over the Colts. The Commanders 1 point over the Browns. The Cardinals +7.5 versus the 49ers, and the Seahawks -6 over the Giants, or 6.5, wherever it's at.
Okay. Okay, all good picks, all good picks. I got all of those down. I'm heading out to Turtle Lake this morning, so hopefully I can win some ducats. Lionel's Lock first week, I took a L last week with Lionel's Locks. That Michigan Gopher game really started the weekend off wrong. I thought
Coach, you
Michigan
got
would
the
come in there
win.
and
You
dominate that
like
game.
you got the win. It was just a point spread.
Yeah, it was the point spread, and I didn't expect the weather to be what it was. That's my fault for not researching that, seeing what the weather was going to be, because I think that came into play a little bit as well. But my lock for this weekend is you kind of stole a little bit of my thunder with the Commanders, uh, but that's okay. I'm a big Cleveland Browns fan, so I pay attention to them a lot. All the news that comes out throughout the week and where their heads are, and I watch every game every Sunday. The Cleveland Browns are a mess, man. The Cleveland Browns are a mess. And like I say with the Minnesota Vikings, how their defense and their offense travels. The Cleveland Browns, that stuff just doesn't travel. Like even if the Browns were to come back and play their best game tomorrow against the Commanders, I know that there are some people out there who will say, well, the Browns are starting to figure it out. Man, the Browns haven't figured out anything. They are so disjointed. And I'm starting to think that Deshaun Watson, he may be cooked, man. He may be cooked. Now, I will say this. I'm not going to be too hard on Deshaun because I thought he played probably his best game of the season last week. Like, he didn't play awful last week. And I know he's dealing with an offensive line that is missing both their tackles, and now their center got hurt last week, so now they're missing their center. So he's been back there running for his life. But even when he's had clean pockets, and even when he's had good looks downfield, he's missing throws. He's missing throws. Athletically, he doesn't look the same. And I just don't like what the Cleveland Browns look like this year. And then on the other side of the ball, you're looking at the Commanders, and I agree with you. they have right now, after 4 games, the rookie of the year. And they seem to be structurally in place. They got a philosophy of the way they want to play on offense. And I don't think the Browns have scored over 20 points this whole year. I mean, they would be hard pressed to score 24 points in a game. I think the Commanders are going to play this game in the 20s. And I know how good everybody says the Cleveland Browns defense is. I think they're a little bit overrated. I think they got some pieces, but they were the number one defense in the league last year, and they didn't look like that in the playoffs. And now after, a few games this year, they're really hurting on the defensive side of the ball in terms of just being able to make timely stops. So I think the Commanders keep the ball rolling. I don't think the Cleveland Browns are going to be able to slow them down. So Lionel's locked is the Commanders over the Cleveland Browns. And I think it's going to be a double-digit game. So the point spread that they gave the Commanders won't even come into play. I don't think it's going to be close, Patrick.
Oh, nah. And you're getting a negative press coming out there. After Flacco goes out and shows off his tail, he lets them know, I never got contacted or offered a contract to come back.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. I mean, think about this, Pat. You got Joe Flacco saying that, and you got Baker Mayfield balling out. Like, that's not a good look for the Cleveland Browns organization.
No, not at all. Not at all. Right? Me and you we were talking about him being our bridge quarterback, right? That was some person. You and I both agreed that was like the number. We said before Sam Darnold that we both agreed that was the number one go get.
Oh, yeah.
For our bridge.
That's who I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I saw enough games with the Cleveland Browns where I think Joe Flacco, man, is phenomenal. What he lacks in mobility, he makes up for in terms of just his experience behind the center. Man, he's seen everything. And you saw it last week when he took over for Richardson. He's a tough out, man, because the guy can still throw the ball, and he's a very intelligent quarterback.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's some, insurance policies, right? To have that, and for him not to have travel that far from Ohio to Indiana and to lock him up, which was smart, knowing how Richardson could be injured because he runs, and that was smart for them. And I keep the young fella out a little while and let Joe Flacco do his special magic out there. I'm just being honest, right?
Yeah.
He's got some special magic to him. But, hey, Coach, I love it. Hey, I'm not telling you guys to do nothing, but Coach is saying double digits. If you really want to make some money, go and alter that spread. Then all you got to do is move it up to 4, and the money's going to move, right? So you can move it up a little bit, but Coach said double digits. Maybe move it up to 6.5, because I know what I'm about to do.
Yeah, that's gonna be 10-point plus win for the Commanders. I think the defense will show up in spurts, but they're not playing consistent enough football to be able to slow down that monster that is the Commanders. I will say also, when we have these Patrick Picks type segments, please gamble responsibly. We are not responsible for losses. Patrick, anything you want to say to UP Nation, man, before we get out of here?
Nah, UP Nation, enjoy your weekend. Just make sure that you don't forget that we play in overseas and we play early in the morning. Don't wake up at noon forgetting that you ain't no noon game. Now, I know you locked in and then tuned in. You got a lot of stuff going on, so make sure you remember, don't wake up and just go start watching, the Packers, Nah, man, we wake up, watch our Vikings, then you dabble over and look within the NFC North. The Lions is off, so go watch a little bit of the Packers if you want to. I don't even know who they playing or where they playing. So, Coach, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who the Packers playing this week?
The Packers? I haven't looked at the schedule. And it's funny because my coworker talk about the Pack all the time, and
They playing the Rams. They playing the Rams at 3:25.
Yeah.
They'll get that W. They'll get that W.
They always find a way to.
Yeah, they'll get that.
And let me mention this before I get off, because I just want to see your facial expression when I bring this up. Kirk Cousins 500 yards, man, passing, 4 touchdowns. Now, here's what I know. I know that's directly correlated to Sam Darnold. The pressure that man must be on in Atlanta when you look at Sam Darnold, got the Vikings undefeated and NFC Offensive Player of the Month. You know Kirk Cousins is paying attention to that stuff because he said he is in an interview that I saw. He's still looking to see what the Vikings are doing. You know that man had to come out and ball out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he may not be happy that he's back here. Dude, you don't even be looking over here, man. You had one good game. One good game. Sam done had 4. That man done had one good game. And I don't know what Tampa Bay was over there doing defensively, but he torched the hell out of y'all. And here was the thing. Bijan and Algier was not a factor. They were one-dimensional, and they still beat you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you don't throw the ball when you can throw. When Kurt turned that ball over, I was sitting there, Coach. I am not lying to you. I was sitting there, and I was like, Kurt about to turn this ball over, right? And Kurt threw that interception. And Tampa Bay got the ball back, and I said, Tampa Bay, you can go ahead and finish the game off right here. But they run the ball, then they get a holding, and then they run the ball. Nothing goes off the clock.
Yeah.
And I said, this is silliness. Instead of never once trying to pass the ball when you got the 3-headed wide receivers, McMullen, Godwin, and Mike Evans. I was like, you just lost the game. That's when I knew Kurt could do that because you gave him another opportunity. If you go score off of that, it's over. But when it gave him that other opportunity, I said, Kurt about to beat you.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this because I know there's been a few you peers out there that like Kirk Cousins that have reached out to me and said a few things about the Kirk Cousins. And here's a stat I'm going to throw at you. Thursday night football games in Kirk Cousins' career, he's thrown for now 500 yards. He's thrown for over 430 yards, and he's thrown for over 410 yards. So Kirk Cousins on Thursday night football, he does work. But I'm also telling you this because this is a good point. He loves getting these defenses on short weeks. And I think that's when he plays pretty well. I think there's a direct correlation to getting these defenses. Because, again, Kirk Cousins is not a scrub, man. I don't think anybody's sitting out here saying that Kirk Cousins is a scrub. But we've seen this before. He had a 450-yard game with the Minnesota Vikings on a Thursday night game. So we've seen this before. Next Sunday, he's going to come back down to earth.
Don't even worry about it, Coach. They're going to see. They going to think something else of him. Hey, listen. You are who how did Denny Green say it, Coach?
He is who we thought he is.
That's it right there.
Yeah, so we will see. UP Nation, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the college football. Again, Minnesota Vikings start 8:30 tomorrow morning. This has been the Minnesota Viking Jets preview along with Patrick's picks on Unconventional Playbook. We will see you when we see you. Latre, take us home, man.
I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm a man? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am?